The Eminence in Shadow hits all the right notes for me, especially when it comes to its comedy directing. I mean, we knew. Alright, let's not kid ourselves. Even if Goldie technically was undefeated and that golden armor shine wasn't just for show, there was no way he would end up beating Sid, aka the Mundane Man, right? There was just no way. Unless there was some genius comedic directing reason for it, he was going to end up impaled to the ground some way or another. But to see exactly how he won with a couple of neck snaps and a sneeze, all things considered, to then get the casual end of the episode where I'm truly not sure if our girl's still alive or not, because the way she was aggressively snapping her neck, I kind of feel like she snapped it too hard and maybe, she ain't gonna wake up from that. But the fact that when he drops his weights and the fact that a lot of the cracking was simply just due to how heavy it was and the sneeze was truly accidental, but even without those things, he still would have ended up winning. I just love the fact that Sid is able to just take things that are so familiar on paper and turn them into such a wild adventure where in the middle of, perv asshat, this fiance who ended up getting stabbed apparently, which with a name like that, it's no wonder he ended up getting stabbed. And to see the fact that we have like this serious plotline in the background as Mundane Man is just casually doing his day-to-day adventures, I mean, how do you not get a kick out of this show? The only negative I have to say about The Eminence in Shadow as it stands is that we only have 4 more episodes before we'll have to wait for more. And this show just continues to hit all the right notes for me. Now, I do have a full live reaction to today's episode available on my Patreon if you're interested, so consider supporting if you want to see that. But yeah, we gotta talk about this one. Another good episode once again. I mean, I see it week after week, people saying it's been one of their favorite shows to follow, and I'm right there with them. You continue to let the sidecast feel like they're telling their own story and feel relevant, while they're never as exciting as Sid's adventures. I like the fact that the episode does kick off and show us what they're up to, even with some humorous kind of like power plays with our girl kind of like putting one leg on the table and like going right in her face sort of a thing. I was like, okay, that's definitely a Dom play right there. But then the fact that most of this episode was just more of the tournament. And I think when you reflect back to when Sid was like as Sid himself, not dressing up and trying to be someone else. When he was getting his background character deaths, right, these are all the ways that he's now destroying the people that he's fighting as Mundane Man. And I think that's a really cool callback because in general, Sid's idea of being a background character can be a bit of a hit or a miss. He'll do things that are without a doubt main character, like getting stabbed for someone and coming back and brushing it off like it was nothing and it didn't even hurt. Stuff like that is definitely not really a background character moment, but getting defeated in multiple ways, in theory, could be a background character thing, but when you keep getting back up and refusing to back down, it does seem a little main character-ish. But lately, Sid's been a lot more in his background character persona. It feels like you can buy into it a lot more alongside the characters. Like, there's the moment with the elf, right? She's like, hey, I smell an elf on you. And basically what Sid does is he just falls on his butt and she's like, oh, I thought you were stronger, my apologies. I was wrong. These are the moments that are letting him feel like a background character because it's not like he's falling on his butt and then tripping her or something like that. And then she's like, oh wait, he does have the talent. I knew there was something wrong with him. Instead, no, it just feels like he's acting like a background character. And I think what's helping is that because when he dresses up as Mundane Man, he's basically finally able to let loose and just feel like the badass that he thinks he is, and honestly, technically is. And to see all of the opponents that he ends up beating, they're now falling and being like, at one point, there's like a character's head in the ground. I mean, Goldie ends up folded over, which is, I believe, like the first thing we saw of Sid back when he was doing his tournament and how he was getting defeated. So the fact that we're seeing those exact same background character defeats, but on Mundane Man's opponents, I thought that was a nice callback because it really establishes who's the background character and who's supposed to be the main character in these moments. And honestly, Goldie, yes, he technically has skill. It's not all just for show. But whenever you do have a character who like is talking about power levels, who thinks he can read the opponents and everything in that, but the fact of the matter is when he carries his sword on a goddamn tray, like he has to unattach it. Like, I don't know if it's because maybe he's going realistic because realistically, having a sword that size on your back, you're not going to be able to pull it out that successfully. Hell, look at the latest Vinland Saga episode. They basically joke about that because you're supposed to keep your sword on your side because that's how you're properly going to draw it, right? So maybe he's doing it all like that, but honestly, it just feels like he's a show pony. He likes to show off his golden armor, he likes to look good for the ladies, and the fact that they destroyed him in such a hilarious way, I mean, the neck snap to then the sneeze, it's just, that was fantastic. That's the type of defeat I love to see on characters like these, which I want to see more of this Goldie boy. Goldilocks, I want to see him around. I think he's a fun character to follow. But in terms of being the best warrior around, I mean, anytime I see people with that shiny armor that looks like it's never been in battle, even if it's because technically he's just never lost a battle or he has a really good servant that keeps it nice and clean, all that polish, it's just nice to see characters like those just get that Sid humiliating defeat, as Mundane Mann just casually says, I'm in charge around here. And I mean, I like the fact that they're even letting the crowd feel realistic for this, because when you have someone who they can't tell how he's winning, the natural thought process is he's cheating, which of course they would assume that. If he's not moving, he's beating people that they know are strong, well, he probably has some sort of amulet or an object that's basically manipulating things. And the fact that as we get closer to the end of the episode and it's been a few matches for him, like the crowd are like, I don't understand what's going on, but I guess he must actually be talented, because you would assume there'd be some investigations if anyone was thinking he was cheating, right? So the fact that the crowd's like going from absolute disbelief to slowly accepting, even though they're pretty reluctant on accepting this Mundane Man, I thought was pretty fantastic. I mean, it does seem that Perv Asshat, as they call him, drugged up the ruler there, because at first I just thought he was a little creepy because he kind of was like drooling and like looking at the teapot, but we do get that one shot where you can see like he's definitely out of his mind, and obviously that kind of kickstarted a lot of what happened, though it is kind of humorous to see someone like Sid talk about how he needs to find a new person to chill with, because he just thinks he can't clue into the fact that maybe tossing a hamburger and more or less encouraging her might have also kind of kickstarted the whole stabbing scene, but that's Sid anyway. I think the Eminence and Shadow has been an absolute blessing to watch over these past 2 anime seasons. Of course, it's sad anytime one of your favorite shows is getting close to the end. Of course, there is that rumor that we are getting another core at some point, probably later this year, I would imagine, if the rumor turns out to be true. But still, you know, it's been a fun time being able to start episode 1 and know we were going to have 20 straight weeks of this beautiful show. And honestly, it's just the way it parodies, but also just lets Sid control this show's direction to turn it into something that it's hard to really compare to recent anime. And I would love to see more and more of this world because it's funny. Honestly, the humor is the big thing that keeps me here, but even the serious action and how they go about directing those moments, and as I've complimented over multiple videos, I like that the sidecasts actually feel like people rather than just random plot objects or quote-unquote plot objects, if you know what I mean. So the fact that the entire package to me is entertaining, but yes, the comedy is the thing that keeps me here first and foremost. I love watching it, I love talking about it, and I know I'm not alone. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. What did you think of Mundane Mann's pretty obvious victory that we knew was coming? What was your favorite point? Do let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell if you want to have as many notifications as possible for the channel, and also, as I mentioned, there is the Patreon where you can get a full live reaction to today's episode and a video shadow like a few we're about to get here. So we got Durberg Jude, Didrik Svahn, and Duckman. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.